my lovely friends, it's Margaret, and it is time for another Fresh Reads Friday. For those of you that are new to the channel, Fresh Reads Friday is the occasional Friday series where I talk about a book that I have read for the first time and I think you might enjoy too. Today we will be talking about I Can Make This Promise by Christine Day. I Can Make This Promise is about Edie. Edie is Native American, however, because her mother was adopted out as a small child, Edie doesn't really know what tribe her mom is from, who her family is. She doesn't really know much about her Native American heritage. However, when she and her friends go up in the attic and are digging around looking for something else, they end up finding this box that is full of diary entries and letters and all kinds of stuff, but it also has photographs of a woman who looks very much like Edie. And so that starts Edie questioning, are my parents really telling me the full truth about my mom's past and about what she knows about that past? So first off, let's start out talking about character. I immediately fell in love with Edie. She is such a beautiful, fleshed out, well-rounded character. She felt like the kind of 12-year-old that I could get along with. Like the kind of 12-year-old that you'd want to, like, if you were a teacher, you'd want to, I would have wanted her on my drama team. I loved the different layers of like interests she had and the different layers of conflict that she had. It's not all about this struggle that she has with her Native identity and not knowing. I also want to say that this has some of the most nuanced parents I have ever read in a middle grade book. I mean, I know I sit there and I talk about Sally Jackson a lot, but Lisa, Edie's mom, is I just really appreciated Edie's mom and dad and the part that they played in the plot of this book and the way that, you know, sometimes you have those books where like parents just kind of disappear and or what's going on. But this was very, very realistic in regards to Edie's life and her parents. And it's a contemporary, so obviously that's probably going to be more likely than in, for example, Percy Jackson. But I loved the fact that they were included and the extent to which they were included. Their relationship is so well set up in the beginning that when you get to that conflict of Edie questioning what her parents are telling her, what is true, you really feel that inner conflict going on in Edie. You really are feeling for Edie and going like, oh, you're almost not, I wouldn't say rooting for the, like, yeah, you're rooting for the parents. You're also being like, there has got to be, you're wanting there to be an explanation that makes sense. Like, we don't see a lot of characters in this book, but the ones we do see are really well done. I loved her uncle and his duck. He would not get along with Will Herondale at all. Nope, not at all. I loved one of her friends. The other one made me want to hit her. Like as in, if we were in middle school, I would have wanted to hit her, which is probably not a great thing to say about someone who is 12. But just this, I really hope you don't grow up to be the way you are right now at 12. Some people do. The characters are just like the best part about this book for me. However, the plot was good too. Like, guys, I loved this plot. I loved how many layers there were to it and how they intersected. You have multiple levels of conflict going on with Edie. You have her insecurities over being 12. You have her questioning her heritage and wanting to know more about that. And the way those two plots end up coming together was just really well done. It was balanced so well, so that when Edie's not like you're never actively working on one plot for the entire like for an entire stretch. She was going back and forth, and that felt really realistic. I also loved how she balanced some of the more serious subject matter with some of the more joyful parts of this. There's a point in Edie's journey for answers and finding out what's happening that was just like, it's sad, but at the same time the way it is brought together and what happens after, it's so joyful. Like, just watching her discover what she discovers was just, it made my heart real warm, okay? If I was the Grinch, it would have grown 3 sizes. I'm not, I'm actually a robot, so like it couldn't. But if I was, it would have. And I also loved how Edie's parents were put into the plot, how they work in the main conflict. I think that it definitely could have gone one way and it didn't. This plot had a level of authenticity that I don't know, like, that you might not see in a middle grade fantasy novel, because the plot was definitely, these are 12-year-olds. She was very, very good at making that clear and making that a thing. I know it looks lovely and bright and nice right now, but outside my window is darkness. So if you hear thunder here in a minute, That's why. Now this is a contemporary, so there's not a lot of world building that has to be done. But I think she did a really, really good job of building Edie's world and what was going on around her and making it feel like you knew where she was. Like I was actually able to picture what was going on and where Edie was. And that's really, like, for me, that's a pretty impressive thing if you can get me to actually think about the setting more than the character. It definitely did a good job of bringing in the history of America's harms against Native Americans and bringing those issues to the light and making them a part of what was going on and of Edie's environment. I will say, obviously, this was written for Native children who have maybe had similar experiences or have heard their parents have had similar experiences and they know about that trauma in their past, because it definitely does delve into intergenerational trauma. So I know this was written for them, but I also think it is a really good book to hand kids who are not Native to kind of give them an idea of what we as a country have done. And it does it in a way that is not, I personally don't think is too much for the age range that it is intended for, obviously because it's middle grade. So I think it's a really good way to start introducing, if you're looking to start introducing those topics, this is not only a great book to do it, but this is a book that is written by someone who actually has had these experiences. It's not like you're just handing them a textbook. It's a novel that they're going to be able to find some series of commonality with the main character and empathize with her, and then also feel the weight of the history that is behind her. Because Edie is learning so much in this book, I found it very accessible. I also do want to say that there was like definitely a call-out moment for me in this book where I was reading it through a white lens, obviously because I am white. I was thinking about what happened and making my guesses about what had happened through a white lens. And it's funny because this issue, this thing that happened, and I don't want to go into spoilers, but this thing that happened, it is not something that I am unaware of. It's something that I've known about for years, but my brain still didn't go there because I was viewing it through the lens of my experience. And then when we got to that point, I was like, I obviously should have seen that coming. And so that was kind of just an interesting call-out moment for me to be like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm smarter than this. So that is it for my review of I Can Make This Promise by Christine Day. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. I really, really enjoyed it, and I really think that you should check it out. I think it's an important book to read, and I also think that it is a great book, even if you are an adult, because I still, as an adult, ended up learning things from this book. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, I will have other videos over here that you might enjoy as well. That is it for now, my friends. Happy reading, and I will see you later when we will talk about more wordy, nerdy things. Bye!